Why not? All right, well, it is 5:49 and we're gonna start. Isn't that exciting? Now, just because the meeting before us took a long time, it doesn't mean this one has to be like that, right?
Good, thank you. It's been a long day.
Might get his rushes.
All right, so you know who is here, I assume, Tina? Yes?
Anybody else good? Just roll call real quick.
Okay.
So. I guess I can start. Tina Russo.
Oh.
MPO, active director.
Pasco BPAC Principal Transportation Plan.
Pasco Pasco County. Pasco Pasco County. MPO. Sorry, we're learning.
That's
Carl
okay.
McKiska, Pasco County MPO.
Good. So you want to go?
Debbie Voiles.
Joel Jackson, BPAC, and I represent Land O'Lakes.
Great. Randy Stovall, BPAC.
Commissioner Starkey. Not sure what I am.
BPAC.
Yeah, but I'm not officially a voter. I'm
No.
ex officio.
You're our champion.
Yeah.
Gunter Flag, BPAC, BPAC member at large or citizen at large.
Tyrone Lovett, BPAC.
Great. Well, thank you all for coming. It's a good day. And my understanding is that, I know it's not the next thing on the agenda, but we may actually get to meet in a regular format in our next meeting. Won't that be nice, guys? So looking forward to that. Minutes were emailed. Wait, first we got to do public comment, I think. Do we have any member of the public that wants to talk to us? No? Okay, now we can do minutes. Minutes were emailed out. So do you have any corrections? If not, I need a motion to approve.
And I can't do that, so y'all have to do it.
That's right.
So moved.
All right, got a motion. I need a second.
Second.
And second. Any other comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. And next we go to the MPO board report. And Tina, take it away.
So the first thing was, and you guys saw that the last meeting was the public participation plan that was approved by the board. You saw it at the last meeting, but it was approved for virtual meetings. Anyway, that was approved at the board meeting, and you guys got to hear Casey talk about the updates to the public participation plan, and then there'll be a bigger review of the public participation plan in the near future, in the next year or so. So that was one thing I just want to let you know, that was approved by the board. And the next one on there is the TIP, which is what we're going to look at now. And that is in you guys' packet, if you have a packet. And this is what our 5-year work plan will look like. A lot of you keep asking for your projects that we want to have done and you never get to see them come into fruition. So this is where you get to see some of those projects where they're gonna be done in the near future as part of the FDOT 5-year work plan. Next page. So this is for the fiscal year 22 through 21 to 22. Again, our budget year works a little different than the county budget year. State goes to July 1st, county goes October 1st, so we have some different overlapping deals on that. And then, of course, the governor approves things a little bit later down the line after the first of the year as well. But this is the 2 to 5 planning purpose, and then also those projects that will go forward for funding as well.
What's
Again,
SIGP?
Yes.
What is that? County? Is that a county? I never heard of SIGP.
So it's our CIP, our county, maybe for, Pasco projects.
Okay, what does it stand for? I've never seen that.
So SIGP is a county incentive grant program, I believe, but let me confirm that
Never
for
seen it
you.
before.
You're gonna turn it on, aren't you? Turn it on. I knew it was coming by the end of the meeting. So, and we'll get that from Tania before we finish up here. So next page, so we can start looking at some of these projects. So we'll do, again, that first year, they go 5 years out, and then after that, they'll bump out each year after that. So the first year is that 2022, which actually will start July of this year, and then all the way out to 2026. And again, we'll bump out each year from that forward. So these are the 5-year work plan, and then we'll kind of go out from that. Next one. So these include lots of different projects, everything from like PED, they'll do some safety and security, they'll do capacity. So everything is on this work program that DOT does, and you'll see some of those in our LOP. But also, this is based on all of our priorities, both local and regional as well. And we have that regional meeting on Friday, actually, the TMA. Next. So one of the first ones that's on here for construction, 2026, is 52, and that is from the east of 41 to Aaron Cutoff. Lots of work going on up there, as you know, but this is set for construction, and again, we have to do design, right away, all those things before we get to this set where they start building it. So this has been a multi-phase project because it's a big road, so it's been several phases to get this done. Next one. So the next one is 52 Meridian Church Street. It's the roundabouts. There's 2 of them up there as well. And then next, I'm going to skip as quick as I can. Resurfacing, really important to us. So those are along 52 Meridian, as well as 98, 301. All of these, of course, are further out towards Zephyr Hills, Dade City, and then 301 Gal Boulevard from Hillsborough County line to 39 resurfacing. Again, these are really important because they improve on the roadway conditions, and it also allows us the opportunity to make some improvements when they do those resurfacing projects.
Yeah, I
Next.
have a question particularly about the one that's in Zephyr Hills.
Okay,
So a few years ago, FDOT was able to build for us a multi-purpose trail north of Zephyr Hills.
Yeah, the 301 trail.
Right. But we don't have anything going south. So I just wondered if there's any, I know it's a resurface, but is there any potential we might get something else?
so you're talking about 301 south of Zephyr Hills then,
Yes,
right?
right.
Okay,
And we have something on 56 coming out,
right.
but there's nothing to connect that up to where the people.
That has no landscaping, Tina.
56, right?
Right,
Neither one of them.
right.
So 301 from Zephyr Hills south, it's not very far to the Hillsborough County line, right?
That's correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
because I know 301 becomes 2 lanes from the Hillsborough County line south, right? 2 as well?
Yeah, it's 2-lane right out of Zephyr Hills.
Okay,
Right.
all right. That just lets me know if future improvements can maybe,
Well, while we're on that, FDOT has a project to at least create a route to extend 56 east.
right,
And I know there was a public hearing supposed to be last week, it got postponed. But whatever they do, we want to make sure we connect
Right.
with that as well, so. Thank you.
thank you. Next. So resurfacing 54 from 41 to Knights Road, again, 41 from Hillsborough County line to Bell Lake Road. Next, those are both construction 23. And then 54 from 19 to Virginia City Drive to Old Mill Pond Road. Again, all of these are resurfacing. Very important. Next, we're going to get into some lighting, which is what the main ones I wanted to show you guys. That's really, really important. So lighting, some of these this is from 54 from east of Gun Highway all the way to east of Altamont Lane, which is almost to SUNCOAST Parkway. Will be lighting, that's for construction in 22. And then lighting from 52 from US 19 to Hicks Road. So those are definitely important projects, lighting, especially for safety concerns.
Goes on the side.
We were talking today how on 19, we were looking at some crash statistics that used to be, most of our fatalities were at night on 19. I mean, 50+% were nighttime fatalities and serious injuries. We started noticing recently, because of all the lighting projects on 19, unfortunately, we still killed too many people on 19, but there's less and less, there's a lower percentage of fatalities and serious injuries at night due to that lighting. So even though they're high, there is improvement on what happens, serious injury and fatalities with that lighting that's been done for several years along 19. So very, very important. Next, lighting again, 54 from 19 to Little Road. And this is an enhanced lighting, so they're upgrading lighting along those corridors, probably most likely LED, I'm not totally sure on that. But again, they're enhancing the lighting that's there to improve it to be brighter as well. Next, and then some more lighting, 56 from Willow, which is east of 75 to Wiregrass Mall. 56 Wiregrass Mall entrance to Meadow Point. That's kind of the area that you were just talking about, Commissioner. And then next, pedestrian bicycle. These are a couple projects that are set for 2023 and 2025. So at State Road 54 from West Mitchell Ranch Boulevard to enter to Marathon, they're going to do some complete streets, and a big one also is at Mitchell Boulevard, Church Parkway to Trinity Oaks Boulevard. I asked Alex Henry exactly what they're going to do yet. They're not totally sure until they look at some design and some other improvements to that area to see exactly what they want to do at those locations.
Is that from the elementary school west? Mitchell, I don't know where Churchill Parkway is.
So it's 54 from West Mitchell Ranch Center to Marathon Drive. I have to double check. I thought it was mainly that 54 corridor up near Little Road. So I'll double check exactly on those locations. And then Mitchell Boulevard has the.
Yeah, it's to, what is that called? The Publix at Seven Springs.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, there are people who they walk on the side of the road.
Ride and
That's-
walk.
They're in the grass, in the
Yes.
dirt, yeah.
So those are some of those
Right here.
future improvements that we'll
sidewalk
see
here.
part of FDOT that were approved at the last board meeting as well. So that's it for that. Probably the next important item, Dr. Stovall, is the list of priority projects. And again, we cleaned up the list, and this list is going to look quite a bit different than what you saw because it's been cleaned up several times along the way. But this list was what was approved by the MPO board on June 10th. And I'm just going to show you, we went to no ranking system because we cleaned up the list. And in the next year, we already talked about this, we will learn how you guys want to rank these projects. Okay, so it'll be vetted through all our committees, how you think these projects should be ranked And then how, again, that ranking will help how their funding, again, different pots for different types of projects. So go ahead and pull up that lot for me. My bad. You're good. That's. So one of the things that we did on this list, and I think I mentioned that, I'm stalling, that we talked about last time, there was a couple of what we call transportation alternative projects that were multi-abuse paths in Zephyr Hills, a couple other places. We moved those bigger projects to the multimodal list because that's where they have a better opportunity for funding. TA projects, very small pot of money among the whole district. So that's why sidewalks take such a long time to get funding, because everybody's vying for a very small pot of money. So the best opportunity for some of these bigger projects to get funded was to move them to that table one. I saw it. Where'd it go?
I don't know, it was actually, when I pulled it up, it didn't.
Okay.
It's not the list, it's
It's actually in your packet, you guys. So if you, and it might be better you look at it that way anyway. So if you turn to page,
Starts on page 31 of 65.
so just past all those projects we looked at. And again, this was the list that was approved and signed on June 10th. And one thing that we did, we actually put on there what we wanted funding for. If we had previous funding for right-of-way design, we know that. So we asked for specific funding on this list, and we actually will meet with DOT to discuss this list tomorrow. But we went through every project and asked for a specific fund, whether it be construction, right-of-way, and you can see most of them are construction. The 52 College Avenue, which has been a big discussion, Dr. Soval, as you know, is set for funding for design. But the rest are construction. When you get further down, we get into design and right-of-way and construction on some of these, and a lot of those are adding lanes and construction to most of those projects. The ones that probably you're concerned about are on that page 3. Again, DOT wanted us to put everything on one table, so you're going to start seeing our multi-use paths, our trails on this same table. In years past, separate list, but that's not, I mean, they all come from different pots, but this way it shows up compared to everything else. And these will be ranked just like everything else in the next coming year.
What happened to our screens here?
Which one?
Wasn't your presentation on the screen? Oh,
Yeah, she's
okay.
still pulling it out.
I'm not, what page you on?
I'm on page 3,
3?
further down past,
Of the overall.
33.
33 of
Okay.
3 of the table.
Right.
so, and ones that you're gonna be, ones that you're gonna be really interested in, of course, Starkey Trail at 54, the pedestrian overpass, which is, has been a central application applied for, that's in there.
Really?
Yeah, the Starkey overpass.
Really?
There's the central, application
So
for.
they're willing to fund that?
It's been held up this round through the state, so we don't know. Again, an application was sent for the overpass at Starkey Boulevard and the trail.
I thought we
there.
were doing the mid-county
We're gonna do
block.
that too,
Okay.
in lieu of getting something done as soon as possible.
Okay.
And then Orange Belt, that's segment 4. We have several segments already funded that we're working on. Trinity Boulevard, which is that little road to Cool Springs, basically to 54, which is Sun Trail funding. And then we have Penny for Pasco, where we're working on the piece from 54, basically all the way to SUNCOAST.
Did we
I
pick an
actually have-
engineer?
So I got a presentation
Good,
that will come
okay.
on project updates. But I just wanted to let you know that hasn't fallen off the earth. That segment 4 is what we're looking for funding for in the future. And then that goes with the same piece of segment 5, which actually has a sun trail, and that's that piece from
Excellent.
Suncoast Parkway, actually over Suncoast Parkway to Bexley as well. And then we have the other pieces,
What page you on? Page 3?
3.
Yep. and it's up
Bottom.
here now.
Okay.
So we segmented out Orange Belt finally, so we can ask for funding based on those segments. And now with the route study, we can maybe even fine tune that a little bit more with
So
maybe
exciting.
partial design and kind of go from there.
That's gonna be such a great trail.
Yes,
I have a question.
yes.
Where are we at on Newport Richie and, the county and the Newport Richie Trail connected on the coastal,
Are you talking the Bayou Trail,
Marine Parkway.
which is
coastal right here on,
Cody River Trail?
yeah.
Okay. We're working with both those jurisdictions, Newport Richie and Port Richie, on moving forward with that project because that needs to be designed first and right-of-way issues resolved.
Well, it seemed to me that we ought to have a joint meeting together with Newport Richie,
We have been meeting with them.
come on, us as a group.
We are in the process of developing a date to get all the parties together. There is a matter of about a $3 million local funding source that would have to be identified. And we want to make sure that that is feasible before we would bring all of you in. But yes, we are thinking alike. We are working towards that direction. Thank you.
So, and then from there, those are several projects, FDO projects, that include new intersection, out-of lanes construction. And then I do want you to notice as we get further down that we're doing some alignment study for 301 for that 56 extension that you were talking about, Dr. Stovall as well. We're also looking at County Line Road, the northern County Line Road that is on the edge of Hernando County. We're looking at trying to do a study or some safety study for that piece of County Line Road as well.
I just don't know when the appropriate time is to ask my question.
Now,
Well, let me see, are you done with this part of it? No.
I'm just going to go through some of the TA stuff.
Okay, so, all right,
Ask it.
okay, let me go ahead and ask it. Sorry for my ADD. I really think that the 301 trail and whatever we end up calling the 56 trail, and probably there's others around, would benefit from landscaping. And rather than me just saying it, how can we formalize that to do a budget request for landscaping? I mean, we have over $1 million in our tree mitigation trust fund. The county can go, I mean, but I keep banging this gong, but I just think we need some amenities on the trail, and I think at some point here, we need to start talking about that and getting that.
And you're referring to FDOT trails right now mainly, not
Yeah,
county ones.
well, I know they're on FDOT property, but no one's good, I mean, no one rides them because they're blah, and they're hot, and there's no amenities, so,
Where on 301?
huh?
Where?
The 301, they're from Dade City to Zephyr Hills,
Oh, I absolutely agree with you on that.
yeah.
I will have a discussion with Jensen and Alex and a few other folks and see how best to proceed with past projects that don't have landscaping and of course, future projects. And that if I hear you right, there might be some county funds or not county funds, but some opportunity the county can help with landscaping on some of those past.
Yes, I mean,
Project-
if we at least have a plan
Okay.
to put some on there, then we can figure out where the money comes from. We could
Okay.
you can always find money, but you have to have a plan. That's my philosophy.
Can I chime in. I meant to bring that up later, but I just had an opportunity to visit my native Germany, and I observed what I've seen for a long time visiting there is that a lot of the public bike trail system is landscaped there with native flowers and bee pollinator plants. And the maintenance there is conducted, sometimes the grass immediately adjacent to a trail doesn't get cut at all season long. Sometimes it gets cut maybe a mower's width worth, and then the rest is left standing for the bee pollinated plants to grow up and, and provide nutrition for the bees, which is obviously a whole nother subject. But I'm wondering if something like that were to become part of a plan that Commissioner Starkey was asking for, or that, it could save on maintenance money too. You could reallocate maintenance monies that you save from not mowing as much and frequently, rather than doing 2 or 3 passes on the right side of a trail and 2 or 3 passes on the left side of a trail. You just do 1 pass per month or something like that, and do the remaining passes in the fall season when you do have to cut, essentially. So
I have a question. Do we have a guideline for landscaping?
We do for county projects, and there's a percentage, especially for CIP or penny for Pasco, but I do not know that with DOT, and I don't know that with multi-use paths along certain roadways.
What about bikeways? Do we have any landscape guidance for bikeways or plans, standard plans for bikeways?
Again, our county, we do have, but not with DOT. I don't know what DOT's plans are along multi-use paths that are part of the roadway right-of-way, and that's what we're talking about.
And is it open for any review or suggestions or anything?
That's what I'll find out.
Okay.
Again, all these projects go to public meetings with DOT. So, again, that can be during that time of the process as well.
I have
All
some
their
pictures
projects.
that I want to show you, and a video, but I can't get the video to load up. We did have the old-fashioned light overhead projector thing here earlier, but I was in Tallahassee, and I was driving out Capital City Parkway, and I'll pass my phone around, but what they did on their trail is unbelievable. And I just think Leon County does an amazing job on their trails. And so she's going to load up the photos. Did it come to you? Okay, wait. The photos are too large? Oh, wait, you know what? It didn't go yet.
So while that's loading, we'll go ahead
Yeah.
and go through what's unfunded as far as transportation alternative priorities, these are really important to you guys. These are our sidewalk projects that aren't funded yet, that we're asking for construction for at the next go round. They'll have an application in. We sent in 2 applications this past year for 2 sidewalk projects. One that's Leonard Road and Ranch Road. They were on our list before. Those have gone to DOT for funding as well. And then these are on here. We have one that's on Zimmerman that's got a Safe Routes to School application for as well. But these are on there, and then we'll move forward. As you can see, those 2 have applications in, and we'll just kind of go down through that list. And we're working on a way to kind of better prioritize our sidewalk projects.
Here's one of the pictures. And you see the trail, as I mentioned always at the board meetings that my people know, meanders. It's not always smushed up against the road.
Right.
And then there should be a series of photos. Can you? Yeah, and then there's the trail. It's brand new. Okay, keep going. There.
Yeah, not a straight.
I mean, how
line.
nice is that trail?
The feel is entirely different.
Yeah. So here's, I'll pass this down while she's talking, but here's.
Commissioner,
Yep.
If I can add a little bit to this, I own a house not far from this trail and do ride it from my house. This is along Capitol Circle Parkway. This was done as part of a widening project when they went from 2 to 6 lanes. It was a DOT project, and as part of the trailway to be here with the landscaping, my understanding is then the city entered into an agreement to maintain the landscaping and so forth around that trail. So yes, there was something that required the city to participate.
Yeah,
But yeah,
anytime you
it's
put landscaping
really-
on a DOT right of way, you now own the maintenance of the right of way. But this is where I'm saying we keep smushing them up against the road and they're straight. And this is what you want. You want a linear park-like feel, in my opinion, to really get the ROI on some of this stuff.
Well, this is in the city of Newport
This is
Richey?
in Leon County.
This is in
Tallahassee.
Tallahassee.
Leon County.
Tallahassee.
You know, I don't think you want them to be too wiggly because then the fast guys like Gunther, they won't ride them, right? I'm not a fast person. I like the slow, but you want a little character. I guess the word is character that I wish we would have in our trails.
All right.
So that's our list of priority projects. They were approved by the MPO board on June 10th. And again, as we move forward this coming year, we're going to be ranking projects in a system that you guys get to approve and figure out as well. And we'll start that pretty soon as well. So next,
I have one question before we get out of this. I just saw something caught my eye. Okay, on page 7, what is the status of Pasco Elementary School sidewalk east 6 foot?
so that one is we requested funding for construction.
You talking about going north of Colma?
So if you're talking about that first one there, Pasco Elementary at Fort King and Hester, North Coleman, it's been funded already for the design and the engineering of it. So we're asking for the money for the construction. And usually when you get the money for design and the planning of it and the engineering of it, there's a good chance that we're going to get money for the construction of it because they're not going to invest that money up front without investing the money. And usually they work out those fatal flaws in that first part before they go to construction. So
Well, my issue is we doing sidewalk going north of Pasco Elementary School. Okay. If we gonna do that, why can't we do it before school start? Because I'm telling you right now, a lot of kids walk that going north.
Right.
If a kid get hurt or get killed, who fault that's gonna be? Okay, in the same way with Pasco High School, take that road all the way down to Fort King Road, going behind the stadium. A lot of kids walk there. If somebody get hit, who fault that's gonna be?
Their own.
It ain't no sidewalk on that side.
Well, but
there's
it's not.
sidewalk in front though, so.
I'm coming on the bank of Pasco High School.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's sidewalk and crosswalk on the
On the
front of the
side,
school too, right? So,
Right.
yeah.
There is,
But I understand that. But my concern is, I would like to see sidewalk on the back of Pasco High School, and we can do something to speed up the process from Pasco Elementary School going north.
What that looks like.
And I actually meet with the school safety folks, and we go over the list of schools quite often and look at crosswalks, sidewalks, all those things as well. And then there is some safe routes to school money. So it goes through a pretty much vetting process of a group of people and not just us. It's school board, the sheriff's office, and the crossing guards folks as well that look at every school. So, including rapid flashing beacons, all those different things too.
So that does beg the question, how do new sidewalks get on this list? Say, for example, Tanglewood, that we had a discussion today.
You request them and then they'll go through a process, and that's the process we're working on now, is you will request that and we'll put it on a list and then we'll rank it according to that system that we already have. And then we'll go from there based on right of way and other things.
Well, I'm wondering if we shouldn't put Tanglewood on there.
Have someone make the request and we'll
Yeah.
put it on the list.
I would do
And
that.
again, limits, and again, it has to be on collector arterial.
Well, I think it's gonna change the collector.
So, yeah, so.
How do you change the designation of a road? Is it traffic count based
Yeah.
or?
So the functional classification of a roadway deals with exactly the way that roadway is treated or handled and how it relates to other roadways. So a local street would be in front of your house, it's very low speed. At the other end of the spectrum is the interstate, which has very limited access but very high speed. So collector streets, by definition, collect all the traffic off the local roads. They feed onto then arterials, which are a higher capacity, higher speed, which then feeds to the interstate. So it would actually be, the way you change that is either demonstrate through the usage that it's functioning above its classification,
Okay,
or if you added to the roadway either by widening or connecting it to other facilities, so it would induce that traffic or usage to move it up in the functional classification scale.
all right. We just may need to look at that road in the future. Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So Tina, I know you're gonna do updates. Are you gonna mention Morningside Extension when you do that?
I have the Withlachochee extension, and then if not, it's
I can-
specific to Morningside, I can make sure that next meeting or even before that, I can get you some information on Morningside, because I know we're currently looking at Morningside for lots of reasons too. If you're
Yeah,
talking
well,
about the trail.
reason
cross-
I was just gonna say, I was in a meeting last week with the CEO of the hospital, Advent Health there, and he said this is a good thing for that project, that they're donating the right of way for the section in front of the hospital. Of course, they know it's important for them too, but that's good for us, so,
Right.
yeah.
And that kind of brings me up to our next couple of presentations. So we were supposed to actually present an award tonight to Sam Bennett. He actually won the Bicycle Professional a year from
Wow.
FBA. Unfortunately, he has a very sick family member that he could not make it today. So we'll just have to do that another time. But he won the Bicycle Professional of the Year for FBA, and Becky was going to come present him that award.
Wow.
And again, that was because of what he's done with the Starkey Gap and so many other projects
Anklet
that he's
Coastal.
done such a great job for Pasco County.
And we want to give him a resolution at the county commission as well.
Good.
So if you could work with Melanie on,
Definitely.
the
So if
wording.
you get to see the really neat picture of him with his award on there too. There you go. Scroll up a little bit. There you. So there you go.
That's cool.
So,
yeah, that's awesome.
but great job. So I'm gonna try to go through some of these projects that he was supposed to kind of update. So we're gonna go ahead and go through the ones that we're currently actively working on. And that first one is the overpass at SUNCOAST Trail and State Road 54, which is a penny for Pasco, which all of you have been really excited about. So that next slide, hopefully you guys will get it here in a second. So we've been working with Turnpike and FDOT. Of course, the bridge goes over FDOT Road, but it's next to SUNCOAST Parkway, which is Turnpike as well, which they might have some future improvements to the parkway as well. So we've been working with them. Go ahead, that next one. So this is a preliminary design for it. Part of this project, and it's not all of this project, is we're going to do some improvements. The Parks Department's hopefully going to do some improvements to the trailhead itself. We're also working with some developers near that trailhead to work on some improvements in and around that whole trail location. That's all separate. The Penny for Pasco project is the overpass alone at 54. We should be somewhere near design by the end of this year and hopefully construction next year. And the advantage of that is DOT wants to do the construction, which would be really advantageous to us as well.
Wait,
And hopefully we can have more information on that.
Is this what the bridge looks like?
Not necessarily, that's one type of design that we're looking at.
Is that a cage or is that architectural details
So-
or?
It's, I call it a cage and I get in trouble for it every time. It is fencing, over
Ooh,
it itself. And it
why?
has to be there to keep things from ending up on the road. So.
Do all overpasses have to be in a
mhm,
cage?
Yep.
So is the overpass, the SUNCOAST and 50 in a cage?
Mhm.
No.
Over the roadway it is,
Oh, then when you're not over the roadway, then the cage goes away?
right.
Okay.
It's the part over the roadway that has to be kind of secured.
Yeah. You can still throw stuff through those little
Yeah.
holes. 'Cause I've done it before. Back
Next.
when I was a youngster.
So I used to maintain
Dirt balls.
and operated several overpasses, so I know what, next. So next project, and this is Orange Belt Phase 1, we're gonna call it, and this is the piece that goes along, up to basically Publix there at 54. Now, this is just one piece of two other pieces, so it was really hard to tell. But this is at Trinity Boulevard to Cattle Gap Road. Publix is right across from Gun Highway and 54. It will go along that north side of 54 along Starkey Ranch area there as well. We're gonna have that mid-block crossing right there just east of Community Drive. Really great spot for a mid-block crossing. We'll go behind those ponds, so you get kind of away from 54 until you have to. So that's one part of Orange Belt that we're working on now as well.
Tina?
And- Yes,
Just so you know, I'm working with, or trying to work with all the landowners. So for everyone, that's the Trinity Memorial Gardens there.
yes,
And then if you get to Gun, you see the old flea market, but that's going away and that's going to be a Lowe's. So we are trying to work with all these landowners in here to do a neighborhood, a grid. We've got multifamily, townhomes, industrial. And one of the things that our county planners want them to do is, you can see where the shed is. I don't have a pointer, but you see where where the shed is at Trinity Memorial Gardens? Yeah, all the way to the right. Well, no, not that far. Now to the left.
left.
To the right in the burial place. What's it called?
Right where near the
More to the
crossing
right.
is.
More to the right. More to the right.
More to the right, right?
Keep going, because
Right there?
now you're in Trinity Memorial.
Yep.
Yeah, next building over,
In that corner.
up on the
Right there.
54.
Right there.
So if you see, you can kind of see a line there. Apparently the county may have an easement there. So the thought is we're going to try and see if we can get a bike trail or some kind of multimodal trail to go from 54 to Interlochen. That allows the residents who live down here to access the retail commercial that's going to come on the front of 54, where you just see trees and that really white building now.
Okay.
So that could make a nice little loop in there,
Yes.
but it's just another little trail segment.
And we're not, we've had the discussion quite a bit, what we're gonna do as we get closer to Gun. So we're not totally sure how we're gonna navigate basically near that Gun crossing. We might bring it further back to the north a little bit, because I'm not sure if I wanna have that crossing go across Gun at 54. So we got some alternatives, because rangeland further back to the north there has multi-use path on it too. So we might have some alternatives to get back to the back there without having to crossing Gun right there at 54, near that Publix and the apartment complex, and future commercial that's gonna go in there as well.
Well, I think you need to get with Terry,
Yes,
because they're trying to activate some way to cross to get to the commercial that's coming down
Right.
here in this area.
we've had a little bit of discussion about that and some opportunities to connect to it, just like we still wanna connect to Heart of Pine to the west of where we cross that, and still connect to Heart of Pine through Starkey Ranch that way as
Yeah.
well. So So Orange Belt Phase 1 next. So that's where Phase 2, we go from Cattle Gap to Suncoast, basically, along the Tampa Bay water easement, and that will get us to Suncoast. Next, and then Orange Belt 3 is the Sun Trail application. We call it 3 because our funding's based on that Sun Trail funding source, and it will go basically from probably a little west of Little Road, to all the way to that connection that we just saw, which is Cool Springs, and then Cool Springs up crossing 54. So we basically have trail from just west of Little Road all the way to Suncoast with these 3 phases of Orange Belt. So big connection from Suncoast Parkway to basically the Starkey Gap and the Pinellas Coast to Coast Trail with this connection as well.
So what's the timeline on that?
So this one's being designed in 21. Most of these are in the next 5 years.
In our lifetime.
Yep.
Yeah, stay healthy.
And again, the nicest part about this, we have this funding for these 3 phases, and we actually have a little bit more to know how to go further west. And we're actually going to meet with Joel and look some things at 41 and figure out some other places that we can start looking at for the next pieces of Orange Belt as well.
Nice.
Next. So that's where that Orange Belt PD&E study that really looks at everything from here. We went ahead and did this because we have the land for the most part, and we have the funding. So the rest is where we're going to connect those big yellow dots there, how we can proceed and making the next connections for the Orange Belt. So, and that's from Withlachochee State Trail through the Dade City Trail and all the way down through what we just looked at. So exciting stuff to go.
Very
And then-
much, yeah.
And that study is out, actually, it should be,
No,
yeah. it
it's
should
been
be-
out
it's-
for a couple
It
weeks.
should be closed and we should be looking at, yep.
Savior.
So we had a study out for
Yeah, yeah, let's see.
Okay.
the advertisement, so we should have someone start looking at someone to do that study as well.
That's really good.
Exciting. Next. So this is the 5A bike trail. This is a pay for Pasco project. This one's really, really important. And it basically goes from Little Road to Hudson Avenue. And hopefully that we can start looking at some safety improvements that go from Hudson to Old Dixie in that whole 19 area. So hopefully this will be just the start of some things that we can do up in that northwest corner of the county to make some safety improvements. But this one's set for construction in 2022 as well.
Wow.
Next, and then the Withlachochee Trail Extension, 2 different projects, as you guys know. So we have that north piece and that south piece. I think that south piece is the piece that you're talking about, Dr. Stovall,
Right.
and that looks like Morningside right there that
Yep.
you're looking at. So they're going to widen the road and use the improvements with the widening of Morningside is my understanding. And then there in front of the hospital, make that connection to the north there for that
You
piece.
talking about the picture on the left?
To the right is
The right?
the southern piece. And then the
Oh.
one on the left is the northern piece as well.
Is
And
that the 300 acres that the county owns where it gets wiggly?
I think, yes, it is. That's the utility property?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
They're still working through
okay.
that section.
So-
It didn't get sold.
No,
Mm-mm.
no.
Good.
And so
Good.
do we have to buy it from them to put the trail through there?
So I think Sam's having that discussion with utilities on different options and based on location of where the trail can go and some other amenities that might be able to go with it. He's been the one working with them about that alignment. So that green line there is not totally the alignment that goes through that utility property either.
But that would be an ideal one if you could get it to
Yeah, we
happen,
looked,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
We looked at several different alignments that might be beneficial on that property. Of course, there is some wetlands in there, so, so,
Yeah,
but
well, it's good
yeah.
and bad. isn't
I
it?
see cabins and, you know, a trail amenities in some of that property there.
But it's
Could be
nice to
nice.
have that opportunity to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And up there as well.
Probably wouldn't let them sell it.
So, and you can see the south segment, Hardy Trail, the US 301 trail is designed and constructed with the Morningside Drive extension there as well. And both of these, two different project design complete for 2022. There's right-of-way acquisition that may be required, so that might throw things off a little bit. But the design, of course, has been the biggest issue with both of these, especially in that northern piece. The design and figuring out the right-of-way was a big issue with that piece. And I think they finally have some design figured out. Next, I think we might be, so overpass at SUNCOAST, hopefully the design for the overpass at 54. We're working on some maintenance issues as well so that the county might not have to take care of it. But with the design of 54, hopefully we can copy some of the design of the overpass at 54 to expedite the overpass at 52 as well. So, and it's a little bit further out. And I think that might be it. Was that it? Yay.
But I did talk to the Secretary Gwen, because when I drove the Suncoast I was going up to the
98?
Panhandle, and I saw the overpass being constructed in what county? Citrus County?
That's Hernando. It's 98 if
Oh,
it's the-
and they
yeah,
already have the other one,
and 50.
yeah, that the state paid for. Well, I said, why do we have to keep paying for ours and y'all are paying for theirs? So he said that, they got a lot of money, and he said they're working on it. No, seriously, it's not fair.
That's good.
Well,
That's good.
it's a little bit of, we shot ourselves in the foot because we didn't ask,
That's, yeah.
which
Both
is,
of those were negotiated, especially 50, probably 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
I blame that on my former county administrator, John Gallagher.
yeah.
But there's no reason why I can't ask now and say, we'll
Live and
put the,
learn.
yeah, pay us
Live
back,
and learn.
pay us back. Yeah, so,
Live and learn.
Very
So-
good. All right.
So I think we're up to our vision
Okay.
zero update, and then we'll kind of let. He's next. You're first.
isn't that pretty?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going by the agenda.
Yeah. Vision Zero's next. You gotta go.
So we're gonna have fun. Go ahead. Can you? Yeah.
Sorry about that. I trumped my husband, so you get to go after me. So what we have done, Tina's got drone shots of these beautiful roundabouts that are throughout Pasco.
Where's that?
Thank you.
And and that's on rangeland, and that's just north of the school where the
Yeah.
school's going in.
That looks so pretty.
And then that just, the colors just really popped with that drone
Fantastic,
shot. That was taken back in October, so you can see the daycare hasn't been built yet, but we try to get out there with Tina and update drone shots where we can. But part of Vision Zero, Tina's got a couple multifaceted purposes for that. Is one, to talk about how do we navigate roundabouts as we have more and more roundabouts appear as part of our traffic circulation options. How do we navigate it as a walker, a cyclist, and a car driver? So Tina's starting out with all of you tonight to sort of start developing a unit for her Traffic Safety 101 class that'll be in October, and it'll be at the library there at that school. As we learn to navigate these, what's the safest route? So I think Tina wanted to, I've got 4 in your packet. So if you look, the second one, that's at Rangeland. This is Bexley, and Tower Road, you'll see there to the right. So that's the Bexley roundabout, and it's different than the other ones. So each private development designs them based on their specifications and what was approved for their development plan. But this is a single roundabout. The one before was a double lane roundabout. If you'll go to the next one,
Yeah.
that's Heart of Pine and Longspur as you come into the Starkey area there going to the school. And a beautiful roundabout. It has a lot of options there. And of course, it sends you off either to the Publix going to the east or to the school to the west there. And then the last one is another one on rangeland. And we put that in because you have a bridge that you cross over and it's a three-legged roundabout, but each one presents new ways to think about how you navigate these as you're different. And I've got, Debbie, I have a great video that's just sideways, but it's you and Tina riding through that one as I took a picture on my phone, a video of you guys, and when we went last February. So I think, Tina, you want to just have a little discussion about what your preference is and what you're seeing. They have a lot of opportunities for all users.
So I'm gonna, yeah, go back to that first one. So as a rider, and I'm gonna take this as a cyclist, as a rider, you have the option of riding in the bike lane.
Yeah.
And on the multi-use path. So on roundabouts, you lose the bike lane before the roundabout, okay?
Yeah.
And this is,
We don't
this
see
is
that
not
here.
something I invented. This is based on the League of American Bicyclists on some principles of how to navigate a roundabout. So I'm going to go through it with you as a cyclist first. So you lose the bike lane. So that means you have to come into traffic, all right? So one of the most important things when you come into traffic is to make sure you yield to any vehicles in that lane. Now, I can take the lane, and I use that very caringly, because when I take the lane, it's because I need to get in that lane so that vehicle can see me. And in this case, and I do this a lot with this one, because that wooden bridge, no, that's the big one.
Yeah,
So
it's the
this
big
is the one by the park. And each one is different, by the way, so how you navigate them is kind of different. So
Get that if you want. There should be,
is there a pointer in there? Oh,
Oh, I see, right there. There's the little thing. Right there, see?
so this one?
There it is too.
Oh, yeah, right in the very, very bottom of the picture, the bottom left.
Oh.
Oh, my goodness.
That's dangerous.
Wow, wow.
So I'm gonna take this lane, and what I do is I'm gonna scan behind myself and see what's coming and how fast they're coming, okay? And if I can give them enough time, I wear a mirror, but I have to scan. I use a mirror because it just makes me aware of vehicles behind me. But I'm gonna see what's coming behind me before I take that lane. And it depends on what the vehicle's doing, how fast the vehicle's going, and how big the vehicle is, okay? So I'm gonna take the lane. So I'm gonna do that way before that. And it depends on what's behind me. If it's moving fast, I'm gonna take that lane pretty quick because I'm not gonna get pinched coming into that roundabout or run over, okay? So I'm gonna take that lane, I'm gonna come in here, and I'm gonna take the lane. The nice part with this roundabout is there's a dual purpose lane on the outside. So that means these folks, when I take this lane, have plenty of room to come into that other lane. And that video that Casey took, you can see where Debbie and I are in that lane. They take that other lane, no problem, okay? They might have to slow down, but they have plenty of room to do that. And then once I get to the other side, I'm gonna make sure I negotiate that curve before I get back into the bike lane, okay? Now, that is much safer for me because when you ride this multi-use path, I keep on pushing the wrong button. When you, go back. So when you take this multi-use path, where we go? So when you take that multi-use path, you have to cross the road up here. Let's see if I can get it to work.
Look at this, it's not straight.
Did I break
See the
it?
painting there?
I broke it. So,
you just can't sit down. There we go.
am I pointing the wrong way?
It's kind of slightly off, kind of.
Okay, all right. So when you use the multi-use path, I'm going to come down here. I still have to cross that road, okay? So do you think vehicles are looking for you that far back off of that roundabout? Probably not, okay? So when you use that multi-use path, you just need to be very aware of who might be coming out of here. And the biggest problem is who might be coming in from this way, which is really hard to see. Okay? So just again, you got to be very aware, and then, you have your regular crossings with your RFBs as well. But these side paths along the back side of the roundabouts just need to be very, very careful. I think we show that one. So this is the one, that's Bexley. Yeah, because the good news is, there we go. Man, it's way off. I was gonna make it. So Future Tower Road.
Oh, that's funny, how far off.
An orange belt right there, guys. So this is Bexley. Again, totally different situation. It's not a dual destination lane. So you actually share that lane. There actually was a crash on this one, but you cannot see it's one single lane. So everybody shares that same lane. So when you take that lane, you need to make sure you're aware of it as well. Definitely totally different roundabout. And the one before this one is different than this one. It actually has a right turn lane and a single destination lane on it. Any questions on those so far? So most folks, do you ride on the bike lane or do you ride on the multi-use path?
Multi-use path for me.
Yeah, me too. Bike lane.
So this one's even more fun. So this is Pine, Heart of Pine. So Longspur is one of my favorite cut-throughs. We're going to put Cheryl's on that road one day. So Heart of Pine, man.
Shoot it on that screen over there, and
So
so
good thing my
weird.
gun doesn't work.
Just 'cause she's holding it.
So Heart
It's
of
done.
Pine, very designated lanes. So from the best way is, so each road has its own designation. So you have to be, the real fun part about Heart of Pine is, if I come through here and I come through, especially the Longspur, which is one of my normal routes, you have to be careful of that flying right there coming off there.
Yeah.
Especially because you're kind of in a blind spot being far off the back. So that's where you need to be really out in that lane for you to be seen. So when you come around, and just be aware of your surroundings.
But look how much character these trails have.
They do, very much so. And then, of course, you have the bridge on this one further down where you have to cross as well. And then that's the one that is rangeland, that's the bridge. And then this was where we were just telling you about that. So here, you actually have to go to one side because the bridge only has a trail on one side of the bridge. So you actually have to cross to one side to get over. And that bridge is going to be fixed.
Yeah,
So,
both of you guys.
yeah.
I've been
so-
sending those pictures
so-
in.
Yeah, it's really bad right
Yeah.
now. That wooden bridge is really fun to ride over too as well, and it's in bad shape, but it's
Except
getting fixed.
The boards are sticking up.
Yep. So those are different, beautiful shots of roundabouts, and each one is different. There's RFBs at several locations of these. There's RFBs here, and there's RFBs here. Those are rapid flashing beacons that a pedestrian hits, and they start flashing. So one day riding, gentleman driving a little too fast here, and with the double lane roundabout, you can get your speed going a little faster than it probably should. And a family of three, one of them with a tag along, was crossing here because he had to again, because the bridge trail's only on one side. So he hit the RFB. So he's halfway through here, never saw this guy. So luckily the timing was wrong for this guy flying through this roundabout. Because again, he could not see those people crossing the road on that north side there. So, but just be aware of your surroundings. And then I'll let kind of Casey talk through some of the other.
Yeah, so and the roundabouts that we're showing you, and Commissioner, you're right, they're beautiful. They add so much character, and when we've been out observing, as Tina said, for Vision Zero, she has us out riding, walking, observing. I've walked from the park to Publix and back, and we've
Okay,
ridden all the
yeah.
trails. You watch human behavior, and that's really what the Vision Zero is about, is to see where we make decisions that are not always to our best interest. We're not paying attention. And it's, as we go forward with Vision Zero, we will identify areas that are having more struggles than others, basically either by people telling us that it's happening, unfortunately, maybe by Signal 4, and try to do more education campaigns out there if we need to with the communities. Tina has requested some law enforcement out there, and I've seen them at the various roundabouts slowing some folks down, which is good because you get cranking on that road. It's a long road, and especially if you're doing it going to Publix. So a lot of the Vision Zero, we can't solve everything. We're trying to identify the areas that are having the most difficulty with human behavior decisions. Even though the signals are there, we don't always follow the rules. But also in that area will be the new school opening up that's K through 8. And Tina and I were on with the school board traffic safety team today. And that school will start at 8:30 in the morning for all grades, K through 8, and end at, I believe, 2:30 in the afternoon. And they will all be coming and going at the same time. So the school traffic safety committee is going to meet us out there next week to discuss with us where they are going to have crossing guards and also where they'll have TCOs as well. They have put up new signalization that will be flashing, 15 miles an hour during the school zone, which is great. They've got 3 of those. Tina's very nervous about the traffic from Lake Blanche because they'll be reconstructing or constructing Lake Blanche will be happening when the kids are going to school at that time. So we will be meeting with them and offering our support if we can do additional signage outside of the school zone. We may be volunteering to be crossing guards as well, the first couple of weeks. So we're trying to identify things ahead of time for this new beautiful school to make sure it's a safe opportunity for the kids. So Tina's been really building a lot of relationships with the different agencies that we can partner with. And that's what we've been working on for Vision Zero at this point going forward. And then, as I said, the roundabout, she's going to develop a unit in her traffic safety class of talking about the best way to navigate all these roundabouts because they're everywhere in Pasco now, all the developments and so forth. So that's where we're heading right now.
Thank goodness.
They're beautiful, yeah.
They're going, yep.
But we do need to learn to drive in them.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
I got a question. I mean, aren't there engineering standards for roundabouts, or are they as per the discretion of the project engineers? Because obviously the examples that you all quoted are different. And I know as a cyclist, you feel the difference. And just as Tina described, you don't want to get pinched in this one. And so you take the lane, you have a lane to take, which is much safer. But from experience, you really have to be alert because you're certainly not going on that little diagonal thing before the roundabout because you're going too fast. You have to slow down, and then you have the problem at the other end. But what comes to mind is that I'm not sure what Ranchland or the Bexley Road, what they're qualified as, whether they're going by public standards or not. But I think maybe you have more. Maybe the designers have more leeway to design roads.
Well, they do have some leeway, like you said. So Bexley is 40 miles per hour approaching the roundabouts.
Yeah.
So designed for 40, posted 45, posted speed 40. Rangeland is designed for 35, posted, I think, 30, or maybe it's 40 and 35 in there. So they try to post a speed 5 miles per hour less than what it's designed for. And absolutely, they are designed to engineering standards. What we're seeing is that our own human behavior to drive too fast, or if you're a pedestrian or a cyclist, and families will hit that RFB and step right out without themselves looking first, that they have the time to stop. So a little bit is training all of us to help each other stay safe. And that's kind of where we want to go with the education part. If we're seeing certain roundabouts that are struggling more because you have a large group of cyclists and the residents that live, these are all used by all the residents that live out there. If you're a family, you tend to use the multi-use path. And if you're a cyclist like you are that's very knowledgeable, you tend to use the lane. And it's all happening at once, out there. So a lot of it is learning how to help each other be careful with this and to be observant. And I hate to say it's speed. We're all going too fast to have a chance to stop in time when somebody steps out or the RFB goes on. And those people need to not step right out. They need to make sure they see you first, but we forget. So it's not the engineering so much as the human behavior of patients and making sure that you are aware of what's going on. So that's where we hope to go more with our education campaign.
Okay, well, but just adding on to that, I mean, the one feature I haven't seen anywhere here in new developments is the opportunity to raise the level. Let's say where you have the pedestrian crossings, you know, you make that.
To raise it.
Raise it and drop it. In other words, like a supersized speed bump where cars would be forced to slow down and I don't know whether that is compatible with current DOT standards or whatever standards apply. But I'm not sure whether.
And
We're
they are
looking for
all,
new
there
standards
are,
or-
yeah, there definitely are the standards out there, but I absolutely agree with you. It doesn't mean that they're always the safest standards to help us undo our poor behavior. I've snapped a few shots of a cyclist at the roundabout at US 98 that's heavy on the truck traffic north of Dade City, and it was a cyclist doing great, just took the lane and was going to Trilby to ride over there. Did fine, but that was someone who knew their environment and knew how to take it correctly and had spent the time to do that correctly as well. So a lot of it's just getting to know your environment through there. Unfortunately, you're going to get a lot more cut-through traffic on Rangeland as it gets more and more discovered, and people will be going faster because they can. And that's what we've got to stay ahead of the game with law enforcement, community engagement out there. You can get to a lot of the parents through the school board because all those people, all those children will be attending the school, and a lot of information to go out through the school to help the family stay safe as they use that area. So unfortunately, it's because we're not always really paying attention for that. I know, I wish it could be completely safe, definitely. So we'll get back to you on that, but I think I just want to show of hands real fast. How many said they would take the lane if you're riding out there? If there's be comfortable, and how many would use the multi-use path? Yep, and that's what they're both there for, because of your level and how fast you're going and what you would prefer to do. As a start out, I'm taking the multi-use path. Tina is teaching me how to take the lane. So, yeah, a lot of skills as I get more comfortable riding. So,
Yep.
all right, thank you.
Very good, thank you, Casey. Now it's time for active. You were very patient.
He has to be alive.
Thank you very much. I'm Rob Kersey with Tyndale Oliver, and I want to talk to you about a task that, brief you on a task that we're doing right now for the MPO for active transportation data development. And I would like to state for the record that I always yield for pedestrians and Tina and Casey especially. So no problem there. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, my slide's not up. Oh, okay. There we go.
Look at that.
And I can advance it. There we go.
There you go.
Perfect. The purpose of our task is to inventory existing facilities. And we've been at this for about 2 or 3 months. And primarily, we're looking at all non-motorized vehicle facilities. So you see, I've listed some of them there: sidewalks, multi-use side paths, trails, bike lanes, greenways, blueways, and crossings. So we're trying to get a comprehensive list of what is out there. The purpose of this is really to develop a tool for countywide planning, programming, and information. It's not really just to create a map. That could be a byproduct or an end product, but we really need to get a geographic database that houses all this information that can not only be used for the development of an active transportation plan, but can be used for county staff and the MPO on a daily basis, especially in a highly developing county, to make daily decisions about connectivity and planning for active transportation. So our scope was really comprised of 6 elements: an inventory of the existing data sources. I'll show those later, and there were quite a few of them. Also, assembling all that data into one location, basically where Tina can get her hands on it and actually be able to put things together to start to formulate a comprehensive plan for active transportation. We wanted to identify existing gaps, not gaps in the system. We're not doing that analysis yet. That'll be part of the plan development, but basically gaps in the data. Do we not have good sidewalk data? Do we not have a comprehensive information for the trails, things of that nature? We also want to take a look at mapping and demographic analysis, because as we get into developing a plan and prioritizing new facilities or extensions of facilities, demographics play a part. Where are people who need those facilities? So we're looking at the demographics, economics within the area. Where are the specific, what are some of the specific characteristics of some of the citizens and workers in the area to make sure that we have that information. Also looking at crash data. Crash data is going to go a long way toward prioritizing some of these projects and making sure that we're programming safety improvements into not only the new facilities or retrofits of facilities, but also for the design of the new facilities. And then also reviewing the current plans and standards. We need to see what the county currently is pushing out there in new developments and talking to the developers about as far as those standards. So we need to make sure that we have a good handle on that. And as we move forward, make sure that as new plans are going under development for new communities, that they're developing facilities that are compatible with what's already out there on the ground. So this just kind of shows you a status of each of those. We've really completed most of the initial work of gathering the data. We're in the process right now of filling in the gaps. Data gaps really consisted of things like getting the width of facility in some of these locations, getting some of the profile in there, some of that data. So as you're looking at the maps that we've produced so far, realize that each one of those lines on the map has a lot of attributes behind it as far as what the physical characteristics are of those facilities. And that goes a long way toward the work that we've actually been doing. So we've got most of it completed and underway. We've got some draft tech memos that we owe Tina for several of these items. And we're also going to turn over a complete geographic data set to the county staff and the MPO for them to use for this endeavor and into the future. Don't worry, I'm not going to read all of the elements on this, but this just kind of shows you the data that we have been compiling in this effort. I can tell you that having worked for Pasco County for about 25 years, that the status of your GIS within the county has grown leaps and bounds in the last several years. And what we have found is that sometimes that information is housed within different departments. So we've pulled it from different departments, but we're able to cross-reference a lot of that information, verify that information, and get it back into a much more detailed source. And unlike what we've done maybe for the last 20 to 25 years, where the consultant compiles the data and keeps the data and is seen as the repository of the information, we're working closely with the county to make sure, yes, we are filling the gaps, filling additional information, but we're turning it back over to the county so the county has that for their use going forward. So as we wrap up this task and as we wrap up the active transportation plan, Tina and other county staff have the information for future use. So that is very important in this endeavor. So this is not an end product quality map that you would actually send out for publication, but this just does kind of show you some of the line work that we do have. The county has done a fantabulous job within the last summer through using some interns to collect some LiDAR data for sidewalks within the county. So we were able to really pull this information and get pretty good accuracy and confidence level of sidewalks within the area. Let me be specific though on the network that we are compiling this information for. As we asked earlier about the classified roadway system, this is really for the classified roadway system. We're not trying to get sidewalks within every subdivision and every cul-de-sac and dead end that's out there. We're trying to get classified roadways and above to start. You might want to get to that level later on, but specifically roadways that could be connectors or connectivities between developments along roadways to actually create a connected sidewalk network throughout the county. So we're looking at obviously public roads, maybe some private roads that haven't been deeded over to the county yet, but we're trying to get all the current facilities and connections that are made out there for sidewalks.
So I'm looking at, it looks like rangeland isn't connecting to Starkey, so how do you fix those gaps that I know that connects, so?
Correct. And that is where we have a data lag between what is currently in the county's GIS and the county system and what we know has opened within the past few months. So we're going to work diligently to try to close that gap and fix that lag. Now, obviously, whenever you go into developing the active transportation plan, if we know that these are in place or we know that there's current developments that are underway, we're going to check those to make sure that everything is up to date as possible whenever you kick off the active transportation plan. So this is where it's currently shown within the county's database. But you're correct, Commissioner. There are facilities in here that we know that in grabbing this data 2 or 3 months ago, it's already out of date.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, we're very fortunate. We didn't think we even had what we had here when it came to sidewalks. So
Yeah.
we were pleasantly surprised what data we already had as far as sidewalk inventory.
Yeah, we really thought we were going to be in trouble on the sidewalk pieces. So having that LiDAR data, which showed the presence of the facilities, was really a bonus. And especially as much as the MPO talks about closing some of the sidewalk gaps, you can see that this is really going to be a real important tool as you develop your plan.
Great.
So I have a question. You talked about bringing together data from different databases
Yes.
into this new whole. So this, I guess it's really a question for county staff as much as anything, but now that you have this, you'd like to keep this current. So are there connections between the working databases in different places where you had to grab it to this product so it'll continue to update as different areas work on their day-to-day work?
Tina, you want to answer that or you want me to tackle it?
Yeah, go ahead, because the sources that they came from are some within the county, but DOT and Greenways.
Okay.
It's just now putting all this data in the current county GIS. And we
Okay.
kind of had that discussion, and you can
Okay.
probably explain that part of it better than I can.
And what's been good about this exercise is it has allowed ourselves as the consultants and Tina as MPO staff to develop those relationships. She's got a couple of people she's tagged within the county who are the GIS specialists.
Right.
And not only are we just pulling data from them in a certain time point, and they recognize that there's a lag as more information comes in and new facilities are getting built all the time, but they're now on board exactly as to what we're doing and what our process is. So because we want the county to be the ultimate repository of this information, as we go out into, say, some of these new developments, if we're out there in Starkey Ranch or we're out at Bexley, we have the line work and we can start to draw that out, so to speak, and share it back with the county staff. And the county can start to add that. It'll naturally come through them over time, but if we want to kind of accelerate things and say, hey, we know for a fact that there's some facilities here, for our purposes, we need you to update it, that dialogue already exists.
That's great.
So that's precisely what we're trying to do. So I think this is going to be have a long-term benefit of going through this exercise. The next one you see, and we purposely just are separating for the purpose of illustration here. We put the bicycle facilities on a separate map than sidewalks, so it wouldn't be so confusing. As we all know, one of the big issues, especially for bicycle facilities, is defining the facilities.
Right.
What is a side path? What is a on-street bicycle facility? So what we're going with here is the bicycle facilities that we've noted here on this map The on-road facilities are in black, and those are ones that are designated bicycle facilities, not just paved shoulder of a certain width. So we're actually going with paved facilities. Something that we are picking up, and this really comes from the FDOT RCI database, are bike slots. You got a lot of locations where you'll notice a bike slot on a intersection on US 19. You can really start to see those pop in the
What's a bike slot?
Newport Ritchie area. It's actually where you're approaching an intersection and you'll see that you'll have a designated space for the bicyclist, and it is between the right turn lane and the farthest right through lane through an intersection. So it'll go through lane, bicycle slot, right turn lane.
Yeah, that's why I'm on the trail.
Precisely.
No,
And,
not doing that.
and what we have is that when a lot of these, intersections are being improved, especially DOT's big on this, is they will actually put that bike slot in for future use, even if they don't have bike lanes throughout the entire corridor between the intersections. So those actually pop up here. We also show trails, which basically we're saying is anything that doesn't follow an existing roadway alignment. Shows up on green here, that's a trail. And then you see the pink ones as those would be kind of side paths or multi-use facilities, which actually parallel roadways. One of the distinctions that we've made, and a lot of our effort here has really been the county would have, for bicycle facilities, it would have the presence of a facility along a roadway, but it would not say if it was left, right, or both sides of the roadway. So we've spent a lot of time going through and verifying that, because we're all aware of locations where you have it on one side of the roadway or the other.
That green one in kind of west of 41, is that Connerton? I don't know, what is that?
No, it's not.
Paved trail.
East of 41.
East of 41.
Yeah, east
Yeah,
of
that's
41.
east of 41.
The pink is.
The one right in the middle, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, what is
Yeah.
that?
A little blo- You see what she's talking about?
I see,
You talking about the pink one?
She's talking about right there.
Right here.
Yeah, right there.
Where the hand is.
Green thing there.
The
Oh,
green
this
one?
other
Right there in the
That's
middle
the
of the well
well
field.
That's the well, that's Cypress.
There's a paved trail in there?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Oh,
Cypress.
dang, I
Yeah.
gotta get on that.
No, that's a different place, yes. Right.
That's Cypress Creek well. field.
Okay.
Yep.
But it's not on 41.
No, we were looking,
No, this is out in the middle of nowhere.
it was way,
That's
right
next to
there.
Joel's house.
Right there. It's not,
Yeah, but there's so many things missing here. I mean, Collier Parkway's got a bicycle path or the sidewalk all the way up.
So
but it's
these
not
aren't
even shown.
sidewalks.
This is just the bike
There's
path.
a trail. The other one was the sidewalk.
Well, okay.
But it does show you how much work we have to do.
Yes.
yes, there's still a lot to be done to verify some of these
Build.
locations. Oh, yes, to build, exactly, and to create that connectivity. So, as I said, we're work in progress. Our task work order does expire at the end of the fiscal year, at the end of June. So we're